Welcome to episode 2 of Under the Hive of Madness. I am Ryan, the Goblin King, and today I am joined by my co-hosts, Marky.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Beast.
What up, everyone?
And we have our special guest, Kevin, this week.
So
we've been playing Warhammer 40k and other tabletop war games for a long time, for a couple years now. And I think that we've all got like one or two stories, some good, some bad.
I got a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I got a lot.
Yeah, you got the most. You've always got a new one.
I definitely think he's got more than any of us.
So yeah,
I'm the nicest guy too. That's the problem.
Well, that's exactly why it happens to
right.
you.
Yeah.
Because you'll be cool and somebody else.
They're like, I get to trounce this fucking clown.
Yeah, so some funny stories, some confusing stories, and some that are still aggravating us to this day. I'm sure we got a couple of those at the table. You don't want me to hit the table?
Yeah, don't hit the table, man.
I can't hit the table.
Don't hit the table.
Can I touch the buttons?
No, don't touch any of the buttons.
Can I touch the buttons?
That one is gonna be is Horus still Warmaster? Don't turn it on. Don't push buttons.
Warmaster?
We don't know what they do yet.
It's just Simon Says right now.
Yeah, right.
Beep, beep, boop, boop, beep,
I feel
boop,
like one of those really cool, like trendy DJs, except nothing happens. When I hit the button.
So one of those cool trendy DJs.
Well, no, it's the air horn.
Yeah, right.
Oh, we do need that.
It immediately makes
maybe
me turn off whatever mix it is.
Yeah, so there's those games that just kind of stick out in your mind, you know, be it a Warhammer game, be it a Dungeons and Dragons game, be it we were talking about Death Watch last week, Death Watch game. So yeah, you know, the stories that were generally sitting around in the parking lot after we bought figures or played a game at a store until 4:00 in the morning.
I got a story every Friday, every time I play Tom.
Really?
I actually do have a
That's
Tom
a lot.
story. I have a Beast story.
What? Where I fuck up or what?
No, well, not where you fuck up, but where we'll get to it. I'll share that story.
Was that the one where I was like just super pissed?
You're
gonna bring up that game.
I am.
God damn it.
I mean, it was the one at our buddy's place.
God damn it.
It was Jesus Terminator.
I never wanted to play again. I think that's justifiable though.
Yeah, it was.
That's
It was
not like
100%.
that's not like I'm salty. That was just like this is unheard of.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm legitimately sorry.
Yeah, so 4 a.m. post gaming parking lot session confessionals, guys.
Yeah, we like to call it Pillow Talk.
So that's today.
I
Yeah,
like to
Pillow
call.
Talk.
I'm the only
Pillow
one
Talk.
that calls it Pillow Talk. Everyone's just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
I just forget.
Well, it's
man,
not
you
our old
brought up-
show. Our old show was Hobby Talk, and that's what we're bringing over to this. So now it's something new.
Yeah, we got our buddies here. Tom and I ran out of ideas, so now we got Ryan and Kevin to fill in our downtime. What is it called?
Downtime.
What-
Well, I mean, I never ran out of ideas. I just needed to shut the hell up.
I'm dumb. You know, I just straight up like I ran out of ideas.
I mean, we had
2 episodes.
we had the podcast idea before any of that happened.
Oh, 100%.
And
Yeah.
it just kind of got put on hold, and now we're finally here.
Yeah.
We're finally bringing stuff to you.
We have this fabulous
viewers,
studio
you
with
guys.
this sexy art that
Yeah,
Ryan
we do. I did that.
Ryan did that. It was pretty dope, right?
You don't remember?
I like that.
Man, that was like 6 months ago.
No, I still love
It
it.
feels like a year ago.
It was
right?
more like a year.
I
and a half.
was
Yeah.
it was closer to
It feels like a year ago.
It was a year ago.
I love
'Cause
our
it was
logo,
like-
dude.
I feel like you made that before we even met. Like
No,
when
no,
it
no,
was just
no.
talk in the group.
You just have
almost.
a horrible memory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
I
true.
remember him actually doing like the sketch. And then like
Maybe
he's like,
it
what do I
was the
put on these
sketch, like,
knuckles?
right
Yeah.
before.
What do I
Yeah.
put on these?
And I was like, oh, wow.
No,
Straight up, wah.
We knew each other before I did
Did
that.
we?
Like 100%. Kevin's like, I just met Ryan yesterday. I'm
That's
like,
what it feels
who is
like.
I'm like, asshole, I've known you for 2 years. He's like, yeah, yesterday.
Hey, it's
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
better to have a nice introduction every day than like, oh,
That's
this
true.
asshole.
That's true. You got to remember
Oh
that.
no, it's this asshole.
That's true. That's 100%. I don't know how to argue with that. No, it keeps happening to me too. Like COVID mind, like the whole lockdown.
Yeah, this
That's
last year and a
pretty much, I
half
think,
or
what
whatever.
it is.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
it feels like this last year didn't happen.
Right.
So everything feels like it still happened right before lockdown.
Right. Yeah.
Well, see,
we just got together, right?
I had so much change in the last year that like,
Oh yeah.
now coming like my lockdown, I feel
Whole
like
new
has
life.
been it's a whole new life for
Yeah.
me. Like I moved,
Yeah.
I made new friends. I stopped talking to the ones
He's married. No.
Yeah, almost. I mean, it's crazy how much my life has changed.
I mean,
just in the
I've
year.
had some changes
Yeah,
too.
Tom went from having a billion friends to just me, and
Pretty
then
much.
he wants to get rid of me. So it's like
Pretty much. That's very accurate. I just
Oh,
want to
man.
be. I just want
I
to
just
play.
want to be alone now.
I just want to be alone and play video games.
I just want to play with my toy soldiers.
That's like really all it is.
He's like,
Well,
the
we've
only
all-
reason I keep Mark around is to roll dice.
Yeah.
We've all started new armies.
Yeah.
We talked about that last time, but we're all playing different armies than we were pre-COVID.
Well, to
Not
bring it back.
Not you.
And not me.
To bring
That's
it back,
why you don't remember anything, because you're still playing guard.
That's why
Right.
if I had started a new army, like been like, oh man, I'm going to be locked down. Let me get a whole
They're
new army started.
chapters. They're
Like,
chapters in your
Yeah,
life.
but also too, you went into this thinking like I'm only going to have Imperial Guard, and now you're like, oh, I can start another
man,
army.
we should try something different.
Yeah.
Dabble in them Necrons, boy.
We get a
Maybe
little
I'll
dabble.
dabble in them daddy boys.
Yeah, right.
Them
So
daddy
Tom-
boys.
So Tom, what were you gonna bring?
Well, I was saying
something up?
bringing it back to kind of the topics that we wanted to talk about today. I was just going to say that like Mark and I have played together for a long time, and that's
I think I've played Tom more than I've played anyone else
Yeah,
I've ever
same.
played with.
And I think it's because talking about those bad games or those games in particular, Mark and I are the only ones that like we can do that. Like I haven't been able to play many games against other people where I'm like, you know what? I like playing against that person.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's
Like,
very few people.
Yeah,
I
it's
can do that with.
literally the four people sitting here.
Exactly.
And
I'm
we
glad
even,
you said that, because
well,
I was starting.
I was about to say, what?
I was looking for an exit. I'm like,
I
oh,
was like
shit.
this motherfucker.
Yeah,
No.
right.
No. Like, I mean, with the exception of Ryan, because Ryan, we've only played together a couple times. But
Yeah,
the nice part,
yeah.
though, the part that I do like about that, though, is that we weren't fighting each other. We were working with each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's a different animal. When you're fighting, like, finding someone that you team or you fight against, like me and Mark, is really, really, really exciting because it's like, oh, now we can
I got
always do
someone
this.
I can play with.
Yeah, I'm down to fight this person.
And just a side note, my buddy Patrick, he's also one of the guys that I can play. He's just like Tom. I can play him over and over. And same with Kevin and Ryan. Of course.
that's rare.
But I think I've played my buddy Patrick and Tom more than anyone else. Kevin's like right there with him though.
Yeah.
I've played Kevin a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I got lucky and I happened to live just down the road
Oh,
for
right.
a little while. So it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, 5-minute drive. I can come
Yeah, let's
over.
go.
Tom's not coming over. Cool. 5 minutes. I'll be there.
Yeah, and I think that's really like there's a difference between finding someone that you play well against and finding someone you play well with.
Right,
Those are
right,
really hard to do.
100%.
Kevin and I are really like, I think we're a good team, but we're not the best team fighting with each other.
No, sometimes we don't necessarily work together.
We do
in the
not work
best way.
together. Yeah, like
Our-
you kind of just go do your thing and then I do
Yeah.
my thing.
Our pregame is like, oh, I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. All right, cool. And then the game starts and
We
just,
scatter.
The whole
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
plan
yeah.
goes
We
out the
scatter.
But those
Yeah.
are the best games when you get to have like a cool ass conversation,
Oh,
like
yeah.
while you're playing, like with our buddy Steve.
Yeah.
Like playing him for the first time, and like we were having like awesome conversations while playing. Like in a tournament scene, obviously, you can't have a conversation because it's almost like it's bad for your opponent because he's trying to concentrate, and you're like, hey,
Right.
dude, that's a badass army, like you painted it really well, and he's just like, yeah, thank you.
It's more like chess
Yeah,
where you're hitting the
exactly.
clock.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I think it not necessarily something I wanted to get into in this particular podcast, although I'm sure that we'll touch on it a lot. But there's a big dabble. There's a big difference.
Oh, I think he said
between-
asshole. Like, he wants to touch an asshole. Like,
Not dabble, man. That's gonna be one of the
wants
buttons.
to get
Just
some
to
of that-
let me dabble.
some
Let
of
me
that
dabble.
asshole.
Yeah. Let me get that ass, man.
But there's a difference between like super serious meta play and then kind of like table etiquette
Oh, right.
games.
I don't do meta play. I can't do it.
Or home etiquette games, I guess. is
Oh,
probably
yeah,
a
yeah,
better way
totally.
to look at it. And like we're all in general, if we're playing, if we're rolling dice, if we're talking, we're having fun. There's not a huge like I'm bringing my Eldar out and practicing with you guys over and over and over again. Sure, at a certain point, that tactics thing is gonna lock in. Those teeth are gonna mesh, and I'm probably gonna start
Oh,
doing
100%,
some
man. Like the
nasty,
first time,
devastating stuff.
yeah, like the first time, like when we started playing with Kevin, because Kevin
Yeah.
was learning how to play.
Yeah.
Like it was like, okay, yeah, what's this strength, what's this toughness, and then now it's like, okay, boom, next.
Yeah.
Oh, the
exactly.
best thing was that when we first started playing Kevin, he he was playing, learning, getting used to it. Then he got a little cocky. And I was like, I'm going to go push that guy's shit in. So then I went and pushed his shit in. And then from that point on, I was like, now it's a slugfest between me and Kevin.
Oh, dude. And Kevin's turned like into the best, like one of the best players in the group now.
I hate it.
It's like,
You punished me.
Yeah, I punished him enough. He knows how to fight me now.
He pushed my shit in the last game we played.
Oh yeah, that was a fun game, but it was. I felt a little bad. I almost felt a little bad.
No, it was great, dude.
It's one of those things where like if I'm pulling my own models off the table because I made a dumb mistake, like the last game we played where I totally fucked up how to run my Wraith Knights.
Oh yeah,
like it sucked. I was like, oh man, I didn't get to do something cool with them. But that was it. That was my reaction.
Yeah,
my reaction wasn't like, fuck this shit. These are the best unit. Oh, table flip. And, you get that big difference.
The thing I like the most about when it was Kevin was it was like I used to just murder him. Like just unapologetically.
And
like,
there was
to
never
be fair. Your drop zone clear strategy
is
with your
nasty.
suits. There's nothing I can do to stop that.
No. But here's what I'm saying. It was like that. And then you learned how to counter it.
Right.
And then you started to beat me.
Yeah, you start bubble wrapping.
And it was like, oh my God, like I'm getting my ass kicked now.
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments where I was like, I'm so happy because I'm like, he's learned how to fight me. Like
now the
apprentice has become
the master.
Yeah, like I don't want to make it
Unlimited
like that
power.
cliche, but it's really nice. You know, like
it also helped that I was coming with new units every time. And so it was like, you were like, okay, I got this strategy. I know how to beat my army. And then I'd be like, well, now I got this other unit. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I noticed it when we started fighting other people, and then you would be telling them how to beat me.
Yeah,
I was like, he's learned.
Kevin, shut up.
I'd be like, oh, that's great. Kevin, shut your mouth.
Eventually, I learned how to keep that baseball bat cocked.
Oh, yeah.
Wait for that drop and then come in swinging.
Blow.
Yeah, it has been interesting. Being that you've focused on one army and you focused on one army for the wealth of for the entire time that I've been playing with the group, you've just been guard, and I've watched your army change, which is really cool. That's a really great point.
That is
and
true.
these are like
Well, I think Mark can attest to it playing me. I played one army for 5 years. You know, like I only just now changed
Start
it.
dabbling in.
Yeah, but like I'm sure Mark has seen the growth of how I started to play.
Yeah, 100%.
And how I've been able to adapt.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing about that is 5 years of gameplay. So you guys are talking about like 7th, 6th,
7th, 8th, and 9th for me.
7th, 8th, and 9th. I was going to say that the Tau have changed.
In every single edition.
Every single edition.
Yeah.
I'm facing that right now. In the last game,
100%.
Last game we played, I was like, Eldar are way crunchier than they used to be. Glass. They're way more glass than they used to be. Crunchy is the wrong word.
Squishy.
Yeah, squishy. Yeah, it was a trip. But yeah, so that's that's kind of all the good stuff. Not all the good stuff, but that's all good stuff. That's our garage league.
Yeah, and
so
like when
speak.
when you're building your
our
own
own club.
Yeah,
right. When you're building your own group, that's kind of the things you want to look for. You're like, I don't want to play a guy that's going to be salty every week. Like I'm looking to throw dice and have a good time. I'm not looking to.
I'm looking to be happy when I die and happy when I win.
Right.
That's
I'm looking for a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking for a good time, whether I win or lose. Like it's not about.
And it's part of telling the story.
Yeah, having some crazy shit happen.
Yeah.
Like
Luckily,
there's numerous times Mark and I have done, Kevin too, where it's like, you know what? I'm going to command reroll to blow that guy up. Did I want him to? No. Am I going to? No, yeah, I'm going to blow his ass up.
We can't do it anymore now.
It's going to be really funny. Like,
we had the fate dice to determine random things just to make the game more spicy. Like it was cool.
Jesus Christ, man, my voice.
It's the pollen, dude.
It is the pollen.
Yeah. Driving up here, you can literally. Yeah. Do you need a tasty beverage?
Dr. Pepper
I got me a Dr. Pepper back here.
You could see the pollen. Like as I was driving home, you could see the pollen. Like it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Like you could see it just coming all over you.
The trees.
The trees, yes.
The trees are just coming.
All over you.
The wind is all.
It is. Let's get us back.
I mean,
plant bukkake on the way in.
Oh yeah.
So to kick all the story time off, now that Tom just mentioned the whole shit happens in the game and like it's crazy. So the first not the first. Yeah, the first time I played with you guys, get my ass handed to me by fucking Deathwatch.
Yep.
Tom and I are teamed up playing Tau against these two guys.
Oh, was that? Oh,
Yeah, was it Deathwatch?
It was the Eisenhorn game.
It was the first Eisenhorn game.
That's right.
So these two guys, so Imperial Guard and Deathwatch, and so Tom and I are going Tau, and I'm just getting my ass fucking handed to me. I haven't played Tau in. Don't remember. It was the 8th edition game. It was like
I don't remember this.
Like it was a year and 8 months ago.
I remember because he tried to kill Eisenhorn and failed.
No, I did not fail. That's the point of the story.
No.
So the only
I remember
thing I was
seeing
able to
Eisenhorn
get
again.
Yeah, the only thing I was able to do is like right at the end of the game, I was able to kill your Eisenhorn.
I think it was with the Cold Star or something, right?
Yeah, it was my Cold Star
commander.
commander.
You flew a Cold Star in and
Best kamikaze unit.
And then somehow like 3 games later, I killed Eisenhorn with the same guy again.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the whole joke came up that it wasn't actually
it's
Eisenhorn,
a clone.
It's a clone.
That's right. Yeah. He keeps killing his clones, and Eisenhorn just kind of sneaks away.
What I think I'm at like no, I'm at 3 now.
I think you're at 3 now.
Now. But you know, one of those things that we did the whole narrative part of the game.
Right.
We just start stacking little Eisenhorn bodies.
Oh, I love it.
My Cold Star.
Right.
Be very expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
You better find a 3D print file.
Right.
Yeah, so this our gaming group, our growing gaming group, other gaming groups that you guys have been involved in. What's like a good quick story? Because like that shit for me, the Eisenhorn thing is fun to tell. Like I'm at the game store and somebody's asking me how I run my army.
You want a good
and I'll
story.
bring that up. I'll be like, hey, this was fun. Yeah, let's do it just like the title suggests, man.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
The bad, and then the warped.
Oh, and the warped. Okay. Good story for me. Ooh, that's a good one. What was a good story? So I got so many bad stories. I got a lot of good stories, but you always remember the bad, you know, because it's like it's like traumatizing. But good story for me has definitely got to be our buddy's bachelor party. There was cigars, there was whiskey, there was barbecue. Don't tell
barbecue.
Yeah, it was so good, it was an unlimited green tide. Of orcs with Tyranids. With Tyranids sprinkled on
you
top.
have to word it'd be like an unlimited orc army with Tyranids.
That's right. Marching up. And the reason I love this game, this is probably one of my favorite games of all time, but it was the game that Billy was created. And Billy is like our group mascot. So Billy was a guardsman, right? So the way it worked out was we put two tables together. So it was like 12 feet long.
It was 3 tables.
Oh, 3 tables.
It was 3 tables long way.
It was like 18 feet of tables.
So it was a big round table and then it was 2 straight tables.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Round table. Yeah.
And I pretty much just put my entire orc army on the table and just marched them up. And as they were dying, I would just put them on the back end and respawn them and just keep sending them up unlimited. So
the second a unit died, it got replaced.
Yep, exactly. And it was just on 5 turns.
Sides, or?
No, just
on
the orcs. Awesome.
Yeah. So it was basically a last stand for Kevin's guard, and Tom had dropped in his Farsight to help reinforce them. And the story. That's right. Yeah. And the story with Billy is that so there was a commander, and the commander had a best friend, and his best friend was wounded out in the middle of no man's land between the orcs and the last of the guard. And Billy's friend took a chimera out with a small team to go save Billy, his best friend, and he pulled Billy into the chimera, rode all the way back as the orcs were just bombarding crazy Daka on him. And right when he got back to the base, Tom jumped a riptide in front of the chimera and
3 hazards.
Yeah, and 3 hazards, got blown away by the Daka, saved the chimera. They were all good. It was all perfect. Like Billy was saved, and they got out of the chimera to go evac, and a fucking Moloch pops out of the ground, eats Billy's legs, and kills his buddy. So Billy's dead. His friend is dead. So Billy's the best friend. And Billy's friend is dead. And next time we see Kevin, Ryan actually gave Kevin some robotic legs. And the next time we see Kevin, he kit bashed Billy's torso on these legs like Starship Troopers, like the recruiter.
The recruiter.
Made me the man I am today.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure those are old like Iron Hand.
Old Iron Hand Space.
Whatever they are,
legs,
they got a little tapestry. So,
yeah. And so next time we see him, we see Billy alive with some robotic legs. And this is just the first story of Billy. We have like tons of stories about Billy.
What's so funny is that whole game, it wasn't about saving Billy.
No.
It was just
that was like
just
my
bullshit.
side objective.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was just something that Kevin made up while we were playing, and he's like, "I'm gonna do this."
No, one of you guys had suggested it as like a weird side objective.
Yeah,
for me,
because we're trying to find an objective for everybody.
It was supposed to be okay. We're gonna hold,
right,
and then just for funsies,
save your friend.
Try to see if I can like accomplish another objective while I'm there, just to add a little bit of narrative,
a little spice, right? Yeah.
Well, and Billy at this point is kind of like there's that old Nerds of the Dork Tower comic where like that they're talking about their D&D figures, and the guy's like, oh yeah, the first game I got a shield, so now he's got a shield, and then I changed from a sword to an axe, so this game I've got, the axe is added, I took out the sword.
That's awesome.
And Billy's like that, like every 100%. Time something happens to Billy, he's changed Billy's model.
Oh yeah, I don't want to spoil Billy's stuff, but let's just say like Billy has like maybe 25% of his body left, everything else is like cybernetics and whatnot.
Oh yeah, he's basically cyborg at this point. Like he'd give a Skitaria a run for his
good
money.
Old Billy Big Cock.
Yeah.
So that's my story, and I love it, and I cherish it because it was probably one of the it was just a great night altogether, and it was a great game.
Night.
Yeah,
great game.
It was so good, and that was also the fish hook her butthole. That was an inside joke of us. We almost died on the way home because I was falling asleep.
Everybody was falling asleep, and I was like, all right, I don't want to die, so I just started cracking jokes,
jokes that didn't even make sense.
Yeah, and I just started telling stories.
Yeah,
and I was telling these like dirty stories to the guys, and we watched a lot of Tony Baker, who's a comic, and in fact, I was actually on his live podcast today. I jumped on there, was like, "You the man," but I'd seen a bunch of his stuff. We've watched a bunch, so I started meshing Tony Baker comedy in the stories I was telling, and it just ended up being something hilarious that we were literally we
I don't even remember the story.
Laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the story.
There was a lot of cramming.
There's a lot of cram.
There was a lot of sexual talk and deviance from my old days, and some various other things.
It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
So no pressure at all on you two guys, but you cannot tell the same story he just told.
I know, but it was such a great night, right?
I know.
I probably stole Kevin's actually.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
The more fun thing for me is because I was closest friends with Greg, it was his bachelor party, and I was just happy. Like the game was great, but I think I took away from that more fun for Greg because he finally got to game.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, because that was like
his first and only time he ever really got. He played once with you.
Yeah, we set the bar so high. Greg was like, I don't want to play.
Yeah, he's like never played again.
So my first game was his first game, right?
What's that?
That was your first game?
Not that one.
Oh,
there was a game before that. Was
the game
Greg's
before that where they
game.
came over to my house and they just
came
played
over
on my
to
table.
his place and we just played on a table. We didn't have we had like 3 pieces of terrain.
I had like 2 buildings.
Those first buildings that we made together.
Yep. I had like a couple of like wooden buildings.
Yeah, a couple.
Are those around still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
what we use when we're at my house.
And that was pretty cool. But
I just know you guys make me make terrain a lot.
Oh yeah.
No, this is back when I made mine out of wood glue.
Yeah, it was good it was definitely good to see him with a full army and playing an actual game rather than like a 500-point train.
Right.
Greg isn't the other Eldar player, right?
No, Greg is a Tyranid player.
That's why the Tyranid stuff is underneath your Warhounds.
No, Greg was. I don't know if you've met Greg.
No, you haven't. You've never met Greg.
Yeah,
he was my old coworker.
Who's the other Eldar player?
Roger.
No, not Roger.
There is
long hair.
Garrett.
Oh, Garrett. Yeah. I forgot. He has like 5 armies.
That guy.
Tau also.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Death
He's
Watch.
another Tau player.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Death Watch and Death Guard.
I would say, Kevin, what's your good?
So since Mark stole my good one,
I know, right?
I'm gonna spitefully talk about the time I whooped your ass.
Oh goddamn!
Well, actually, really, it's because you brought it up earlier. And
it's a good game.
It was a good game for me for a couple of reasons. One, I always like playing Mark. He's fun because we'll bullshit around a little bit.
A lot.
Should I charge this unit? No, but it'll be cool.
Oh, it'd be cool as shit.
And I do with guardsmen. I'll send them in to die.
Oh yeah,
they're guardsmen. It's literally their purpose. So Mark was like, "Hey, let's. I'm gonna test out my tournament list."
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, "Cool, let's do this. That'll be fun to like try to play meta, even because normally
just a little try hard game,
a little try hard game." And so like I watched some tactics videos, I like hammered it, and I was like, I have to play this game the right way, otherwise it's not going to be the proper experience. And so like I played my cards fucking in a row. Like
it was perfect.
I baited him in with his bike charge. I just dogpiled him with guardsmen, He's like, oh, I'm going to kill like 9 of these guardsmen. I'm like, cool. There's like 40 more on
right
you.
behind him. Yeah. I was like, there's more in that Chimera. What?
Yeah.
That's the
I bumper
Imperium.
card his bikes with my Chimeras.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Locked him into melee so they couldn't charge my guardsmen. Wrapped him up in guardsmen. Did a fallback and shoot order.
It was great.
And then just dumped everything into his guys.
Like,
and like
tactically,
I killed, like,
the game was played so well by Kevin.
Oh, it was great. And that was one of my best victories. And I played it right. I definitely did play the game it was supposed to be played there.
Oh yeah, and that was definitely me at like, I don't want to say like my best, but that was definitely me at the very like top of my game. Like, because I was getting ready to play in a tournament, and I was getting a bunch of reps in. It was so like Kevin doing that. I'm like, man, this makes me like, I have to rethink my list. I have to rethink my strategy. Like, I can't just, it was a really good game for me too.
You did change your list after that.
I did. Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I don't remember what you changed about it, but it definitely exposed
a lot of composition.
What were the flaws in your list.
Oh, 100%.
And
the flaws of my tactics too.
Yeah. And the solid Space Marine, I'm just going to charge all my bikes in. Like, I knew that was coming. So I specifically planned against it, and I just waited out. I was like, he's coming in, he's coming in, and I just let him have it.
Oh, it was great too. I was like, how is this happening?
I mean, you did roll a little subpar, and I did roll a little hot.
Yeah, but you can't ever blame a game on rolls.
Exactly.
We'll see right here. This is exactly what shows like the good part of it. It was good because you finally got to like really kind of pump in your tactics, and you're like, I executed well. And Mark is like, yeah, you did, and it was fun. That there shows why it's a good game.
Exactly.
It's because Mark is Mark's the one who got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was great though.
Yeah.
You know?
It was a very, very good learning experience. And plus I always love playing Kevin because there's like zero saltiness. That's the one thing I love about Kevin. Not that these guys are salty or anything, but like Kevin, like it's just always fun to play against.
Oh, yeah.
And like, that's one. Also,
we'll get to our bad stories.
We'll get there. I got one for you.
One of the cool things about playing guard is like, if you're salty, well, you picked the army of dudes that are just supposed to die.
Oh, right.
Well, like, if you're not losing men, then the other dude's not even playing the game.
Oh, right.
His number one tactic in the story was to like drown them in bodies.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
It was fall back and shoot, dump a whole bunch of stuff onto them, kill as many as I can, and then just hold them down. Like going back to Agincourt,
someone had
against
asked
the
me,
Knights.
they're like, what's your favorite army to fight? And I always say Imperial Guard. And they're like, why? And I'm like, I just love the line from 300 where he's like, will you kneel before me? And he's like, you see, my legs are really sore after spending all day slaughtering all your men.
But also,
that's how it is. It's like, he could kill me. He could win. And he's like, are you ready to kneel? And I'm like, I'm still really tired from slaughtering all of your men.
But that's cool because I got like 4 more squads of Chimeras.
Oh,
Ready
yeah.
to go.
It's great. It's a very target
Dude,
rich environment.
you're freaking chimeras, man.
Chimeras are one of the best transports.
I almost feel dirty. Like their stat line is way better than it kind of you'd think it would be for an APC. It's just so tough.
Like I have all these anti-armor guns. I'm gonna focus on that chimera. Man, I've been same game where no.
It's because you're using you're using railguns. That's why.
Yeah. Well,
don't use railguns.
Railguns are cool.
I know they're
Railguns are
great.
cool.
They're
I
awesome.
love their lore.
But
They're so cool.
their lore is great. And like hammerheads are awesome, but don't use broadsides.
Oh,
like,
dude, if I was playing TOW, I'd be running railguns all day.
That broadside did wreck.
Dude,
my
I love that low point
is this your good game.
It was. I think it was our 1,000.
I already
versus
told mine.
1,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did 1,000 versus 1,000, and like I chunked you with the
You
railguns
chunked me
on that
really
one.
hard.
All right, we got to talk about the bad now. Wait. It was
I
the
didn't tell my good story.
You didn't tell your good story? What is it though? The good, the bad, and the warped?
The good, the bad, and the warped.
Okay. What's warped?
Nobody gives a shit.
Well, like
Just
weird
stuff.
Okay.
The
Let's hear
warp,
Tom,
dude.
let's hear Tom. The warp.
I'd say probably my it wasn't really like a good game for the opponent because my opponent was kind of salty, but it was really great for me because it was the first time I ever ran hazard suits.
Oh, I think I know this story.
Yeah, and
I think I know this story.
I was running hazard suits, and if you don't know what they are, they're beefed up crisis suits that are meant to be kamikazes,
mini heavy arms.
Yeah. They're basically
Custom.
they have like 4 burst cannons, and they just like drop in.
It's so gnarly.
Yeah, they've got extra
they do a
wounds.
lot
What is it, like
damage.
over 70 shots or something like that?
It's 16 shots per suit,
right. Okay.
and they're all strength 5,
Oh.
and you
It
can
just-
make them -1 AP.
Yeah.
It deletes my guardsmen.
Yeah,
Just
it's
deletes
like
them off the table. It's no
Soft
joke.
infantry and like heavy infantry, it just shreds.
Yeah, so it's like the old school heavy bolter, but with a ton of more shots.
Yeah, and so I'd
dude.
never run them before, and I was playing against guardsmen, and like I said, like it's just my favorite army to fight. And I was running around and I had been just swamped this game. Like I was losing. I think it was 7th edition.
Yeah. I think it was at the Cyclops demo tanks. Or something like that.
Yeah.
And they against Tadpole.
Yeah, and they had brought out Cyclops tanks. And one of them got me.
Bad.
Like he
Real
had 3, and one of them got me. And I was like,
wait.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not letting the other 2. So I blew up the other 2. And then I was chasing this unit of guardsmen that just like, because he used to run Catachans and he'd run them in like guards units of like 40. And so they would just jump into a building and they would just shoot me from the building. And there was like nothing I could do because they were, he dropped down to first floor and you couldn't see in the first floor.
Right. It was old school. I think like frontline rules.
Yeah. So
ITC.
you couldn't see into the first floor. You had to be in the building. So I was like, how am I going to get there? So I did this move with the hazard suits because they have this like crazy, they had an 8-inch move, or well, back then I think you could move, shoot, move.
It was something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so basically I jumped the hazard suits into a building, exploded everybody on the first floor just by volume of shots.
Yeah.
Next turn, I jumped into another building.
It was just
and just exploded everybody.
It was just murder. It was murder.
It was so much fun because in my mind I'm just thinking like there are these guardsmen, they're in this building, and then all of a sudden they hear like constant minigun fire, like just
and all of their friends.
Like, what is that? And then it's just and then like a wall explodes and these suits come in and just minigun them to death.
Oh, dude, it totally just sounds like those scenes from Gundam where like all the like normal troops on the ground are just getting smoked, and then the Gundam like plows shoulders sideways through a building and just comes out behind the next line of tanks. They're like, we're totally gonna get him. And everybody's dead.
It was one of those moments where I was like, that was the coolest thing I've ever done.
Dude, it was really awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like, oh my god.
I was like, so all of your guys, you're now dead.
I win.
I literally, I think in that 2 movements of shooting, I think I killed 50 guardsmen, just like in 2 turns. It was just
was ridiculous.
Yeah, and it was with 2 hazard suits, not even all of them. It was with 2 of them. Right.
It was ridiculous.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was just like,
there are times. I'll preface this with saying, in 8th and before, but there are definitely times when, you know, it happened when we were playing against Mark's Death Watch, like a couple of days before 9th came out, where you had your command squad like in the building, and I had my Tau just right outside the building, and I was close enough that I could take 3 shots at you, rapid fire, and I was just like, all right, I turn and I shoot. Ha!
Ryan's dying.
Oh my god,
Ryan's dying.
And it was just one of those things where we're like literally just shred the wall, shred your guys.
Yeah.
And Tom and I look at each other like that wasn't supposed to happen.
No, not at all.
I was not supposed to kill an entire command squad.
I did that to Kevin's HQ tank.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the tank commander.
Yeah,
now
one of Tom's first
post
games.
9th with Tau, that doesn't happen.
No,
right?
Back when Tau were formidable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's,
I mean, they'll still kill my guys just fine.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on who they fight and how you play them. But.
Right.
Yeah, you can kill Imperial Guard and Orcs. They just doesn't matter the edition. You will always kill Imperial Guard and Orcs.
We're going on that trip soon, fellas, and we're going to play Warhammer for like 3 days straight. I'm bringing Tau.
I hope so.
It's going to get real.
It's
going to get real.
It's going to get
Somebody's bringing Chaos Knight, so I got to bring Tiger Shark.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's bringing chaos.
Someone's bringing Titan units, so I got to bring my Titan killers.
Got to bring my Titan killers.
I should probably assemble that second top for my Baneblade as a Shadow Sword. Then.
Yep. So anyway, bad, right? Moving on to, is it bad or warped?
It's bad. It's bad.
It's bad time.
Why don't you just take bad right now?
Me?
Yeah.
Just bounce it off you again.
You got a bad ready?
I mean,
if you don't have a bad,
I don't necessarily have like, I don't necessarily have,
cock locked and ready to go.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have like any that are, I mean, I guess it was
cringy. Go cringy too.
And I don't want to go into too much detail because it's still kind of fresh, but it was a game that, you know, I was running an army I wasn't super familiar with, and the other person wasn't running an army they were super familiar with, and I was winning. Right. You know, like I was like, cool, this is fun. Like I'm excited. Like I'm playing this new army. I'm having a good time. And it was just like talking to a brick wall the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going. And just everything I was doing, like the dude's head was just in his book the whole time. Like wasn't being very responsive. And then just at the end, he chalked the game up to him making mistakes and nothing about my play style or, you know, like
if you did well. Or
yeah. And like, I know I had fibbed up some of the rules, but it's because I was going off of a codex. So technically I was going off of the rules that I was given, you know, and that was the thing too. It was told we were having a friendly game.
Right.
But it wasn't, and I was like, don't preface it with something like that with me. Cause it's like, if you're going to get mad later because you brought a meta list, but didn't run it right. And I brought a list that has Disney characters in it. You know what I mean? like that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, dude, like, I don't know what you want me to tell you here, man. Like, you just sucked all the fun out of it. Like every bit of fun that I was like, this is the first time doing. It just got wasted. And I was like, wow, like what a cock tease, like,
well, that I feel like that happens at D&D a lot too. And we got a term in, role playing, the term that we use is rules lawyer. There's always that one person who's like, there's two people that bother me. There's one who is the rules lawyer, right? That's and then there's two that is, and you know who exactly I'm talking about, but don't say his name, who just breaks the game.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It just breaks the game for no reason.
I'm sitting here at.
He just it's those people that just break the game.
That's their fun.
Their fun is making it so that nobody else is having fun.
Yeah, and that's the D&D. Like you run into that with D&D a lot. Like I've been in groups where it's like
twinking.
Yeah, people. Yeah, is that what it is? Twink.
Well, there's a couple ways you either call it munchkin or twink.
Yeah.
It's min maxing. And honestly, it happens a lot in Warhammer. There's kind of like two pools of players. There's the let's get together and tell us, and in both games, and like it's almost universal in role playing and in tabletop wargaming. There's really two types of players. There's people that want to get together and tell a competitive, or not a competitive, that want to get together and tell a cooperative story, and then there's people who just want to like own everything.
Yeah.
And they have to be the best, and
that's their fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the thing. I think that like a lot of groups like give each other flack for. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have fun narratively and wanting to win.
Be competitive.
Yeah,
like,
there's
I
nothing.
Totally get that.
Yeah,
like,
well, you need
I
to
used
be,
to do that with paintball.
I mean, I try to win when we play Warhammer.
No, but I mean,
but
like,
I also charge Billy in by himself to go fight crazy
put it this way. I used to play professional paintball, and that wasn't about telling a cooperative story.
Right.
That was about getting out there and murdering the other person. Just laying paint. And that's what we did. So I could totally get it. But you know what was really interesting about that is that we only played against people that they were trying to do the same thing.
Right.
Well, and that's where it's like, okay.
It's hard to get that crossover.
Because I also played, I wasn't pro, but I was amateur paintball. And I segued that into playing airsofts incredibly competitively and like getting paid to play airsoft. And I segued that into how I play airsoft now. And there's a difference between going out and like anytime you approach a sport like paintball or airsoft, and I'm not going to mince words, they're sports. Whenever you approach something like that, there's a level of concentration where you're like, my goal is to win. Even when we play Warhammer, my goal is to win.
My definition, and I think it applies to board gaming, especially when there are tournaments. If there are tournaments for board gaming, I think you need to have a clear definition between the game and the sport.
Exactly.
If it is a competitive and that's what you're in it for, and it's a tournament style, you're playing the sport version.
Right.
If you're playing the game version, we're just having fun. We're just going pew 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 pew.
We're here to roll dice and kill dudes.
But there's also a line in the game that you can't cross, in the sport or the game that you can't cross. Like there are pro athletes who have bad reputations because of the way that they act after the game is done. Mm-hmm. And then there are pro athletes that everybody just kind of aspires to and wants to meet because they're good people. And like in airsoft or in paintball or in Warhammer, when you're done charging that hill and the points are all done, y'all need to be able to shake hands. You need to be able to joke about the silly stuff.
You need a GG.
Yeah.
Right.
There has to be a good feeling.
I like that.
Yeah, you got a GG, man. Grimdark Gaming.
GD.
You're just trying to TM.
I'm just plugging.
It's like TM.
Yeah, plugging.
TM. I know.
GG.
TM.
There we go. It's ours.
Yeah, I totally get it. I had some interesting experiences with that same group of people. So
yeah. And that's really like, that's where I draw my bad games from.
Yeah.
Is when I'm playing against someone who isn't playing the same game as me.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think that because I personally play the game to have fun. I play most of my games like that. There's very few things that I'm really competitive in. I like being competitive and but I like having a good time more. And the thing about 40k is like when you play someone, you go into a verbal contract of how we play this game. Playing this game, we're playing with the rule. We're playing with all the knowledge we have at that time. If you go back and you're like, hey man, because this is probably one of the bad games that I had. I was playing in a league and I was playing a guy and we played the game, we played it out, we knew our FAQs, we knew as much as we could. And at the end of the game, he came back a day or two later, he sent me like a private message saying, hey man, you messed up this rule. This is what the rule is. And I was thinking about, what happened in the game. And regardless, it didn't affect the game ultimately, but regardless of whether it affects the game or not, you guys go into a verbal contract of like, hey, we're going to play this game, and there's no such thing as a perfect game of 40K. So when you're playing, like, don't come at your opponent at a later date and be like, hey man, I would have won this game if you didn't mess up this rule. Because it's
dude, I hate that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it happens to me every time.
Yeah,
every time.
It's becoming one of my biggest pet peeves because it's happened to me. It's happened to me a lot, like on both ends. I mean, I know I don't play a perfect game of 40K. It's almost impossible.
Nobody does.
I forget to shoot shit all the time.
Right.
We try.
The last game we all played together, like I had a dude. I was like turn 3. I'm like, oh, he can shoot.
Yeah, and that's why like when
it happens.
Yeah, when I'm playing 40K,
hey, I forgot to do my psychic phase on that guy. Can I do it right now?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Like there's times where like I'll shoot my
sorry
first
man,
round of
missed your chance.
Yeah,
but 4 days later, hey, I just read your codex, and in your codex it says XYZ, which means that I have 15 more points.
Right.
And now we need to adjust the league out.
Man, you know what? I just remembered. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. To me, that's a big no-no. That's a big feels bad. Don't do that to your opponent. Like,
well, and I get. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, if you're playing somebody, like, study their army. That's what I did in my league. Like, when I knew I was gonna be playing like Space Wolves or something, for example, I read the Space Wolf Codex. I read their FAQ. I read their latest errata. Like, I read all that stuff. So that way, going in there, if my opponent was like doing something, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Do you mind if we check the errata real quick? That's okay to do. But like 4 days later and be like, hey man, I checked your errata and it sounds like you did this wrong. It's like, well, that's not the way that it happened. Like now you're trying to go off memory. It's a big clusterfuck, and you don't want to go down that road just because you feel bad that you lost or something.
Could you imagine like the NFL going like, hold up, we should have flagged here. We're going to change the outcome.
That's
a really good point.
And there's a precedent for this. Being somebody who runs event management in Southern California, I've run tournaments before. When the TO makes a call, it's done. It's over.
Right. It's just done.
100%. If you record with the TO and you haven't brought it up, it's done, dude.
Yeah.
If you came back to me as a tournament organizer later on and we're like, hey, just as an example, hey, Kevin did this out of the codex, and I'm pretty sure that's not in the codex. I'm not going to go, oh, cool, we already gave out award points and it's day 3. Let me go readjust. I'm going to be like, well, you need to know that going into your next. Now you're informed. This is an opportunity where but in this example, where you have learned by your mistake, and now you need to move forward in your life and not doing that again. There's an old story where I'm going to use Bill Gates, where like somebody. Some dude's working on the Xbox. He's working on the original Xbox, and he makes a systems cache error, and there's a memory dump in the old Xbox, and he has to go to Bill Gates' office, and he's like, Mr. Gates, I fucked up, and it's costing the company $1 million. I'm really sorry. I've tendered my resignation. And Bill Gates goes, no, you can't quit. And the guy's like, what do you mean? And he's like, I just invested $1 million in your education. And that's how, as a Warhammer player, you have to think. I fucked up and didn't shoot with half my army. I'm not going to come to you and say, hey, by the errata and the way that you're running your crap, you confused me. I didn't shoot. We need to replay that game. I'm going to go, oh, next time I need to make sure that all my shit's unlocked.
If you're telling your opponent after the fact to inform them, that's 100% different than trying to let them know, like, hey, we fucked this game up, and I think I should have won. That's bullshit.
And never approach a rules, in my opinion. Never approach a rules conversation like that. Always approach rules conversations.
Hey man, just let you know.
But it's a, hey man, let's, or like, hey dude, I don't understand this. Let's sit down and figure it out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's most of them for me. Like when I was first learning how to play against Tom, it was fucking shield drones coming out of nowhere to stop all my firepower, and it's like, wait, hold up,
they're so good.
You're gonna have to explain this to me, like, because
dude, 8th edition,
because the way the rules are written, like, that sounds like bullshit.
Oh, right.
No, 8th edition drones were just so good.
Well, you're also dealing with a core rule book that's
with a core rule book, a codex, a fact, a very white dwarf, like you get
Psychic
Awakening, like good.
You're dealing with hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of pages of specific rules.
Not to make you seem intimidated by the game. It's really not that hard to play.
It's really not that hard to play.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of those pages aren't super relevant, but
a lot of those,
until it is relevant.
Anyway,
there's also a lot of fluff.
bad games. Who else? Well, let's go.
Kevin, bad game.
I guess kind of rolling off that same idea, I had a game against somebody who brought basically the biggest wheel of cheese he could find, and he rolled it across the table at me, and there was nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
And it was like,
but
and it came
preface
out of
it
nowhere.
Preface it with like it was supposed to be like a friendly game or something,
It was supposed to be a fun game. It was one of the first times I was playing with the guy, but we had like hung out, in the gaming area a bunch of times. We'd had conversations and stuff, and it was like I didn't even know I was going to fight him. I came down. Tom and Mark had to take off a little early, so I was like, all right, yeah, let's play a game. And oh man, like it was brutal. I got wrecked. And it's not that I got wrecked that bothered me. It's I got wrecked and there was A, nothing I could do about it. And B, I thought it was supposed to be like a fun, like let's get to know each other. It was just, it was a face roll. It was brutal. It was a face roll. Like we called it by turn 3 because there was literally nothing I could do. It was they're demons that make it so you can't fall back at all. And then one of the things like tricks that guard have is we can fall back and shoot with an order, but that order can't work if the rule just flat out refuses fall back.
Oh, right.
So his army basically just advanced across the table turn 1, charged into me turn 2, and then my army just had to stand there and get wrecked. Like there was nothing I could do about it.
It was just a really feels bad game, right?
And it was like, oh man, I had never fought these before. I had had no concept of how it was
it wasn't like a learning experience of like, oh hey man, my army does this, like be careful.
He did mention it ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
I didn't understand that he could like spread them out so far and basically tag my entire army.
Oh, okay.
At the same time.
Yeah. Well, I mean that goes on a learning experience too, like bubble. You got bubble wrap.
I mean, I bubble wrapped pretty intensively.
Same here.
But like those demons are big.
Yeah,
that would also they can go through buildings.
That would also be something that I would have questioned. So that's something that like it's a lot like it's funny because we brought up Magic and Pokemon in episode 1, but it's a lot like that when your rule says
X.
X. And then your rule says Y. There's actually a conversation as to which rule overturns which.
Right. And
if your rule specifically says on a command point with an order, I can fall back and shoot, that might overwrite you can never fall back from me.
Right. And
that
also
becomes a quick conversation.
It doesn't help that neither of our armies have 9th codexes.
Right.
Like, so it's,
so this was in 9th?
This was in 9th.
Oh, yeah.
With both of us running 8th codexes.
Yeah, 9th has been rough.
Yeah. So, and that was like, I wasn't mad at him. It was, I didn't realize that was the game we were playing.
Right.
And I got wrecked. And it was like, and also a little bit like what Tom was saying, like I was like talking to a brick wall. I was like, yeah, I'm going to shoot all my heavy bolters at this guy because, heavy machine guns. And he's like, wait, what? What are heavy bolters? Like, how do you not know what heavy bolters are?
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like a friendly game isn't running. Like, I'm sorry, even if I have a meta list and I'm playing against someone I've never played before and we're playing and he doesn't know what my army is, I'm not going to steamroller him.
Oh, right.
I'm just not going to I'm not that type of person.
No.
Like I'll steamroller him if he's cocky.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I saw Kevin that day. He wasn't cocky. Like, and I've seen Kevin cocky. Like,
Yeah, if I get on a win streak, I'm like, all right, feeling good.
Yeah, let's go.
When I went into this, like, okay, I'm fighting demons. I'm probably going to lose, but I didn't expect to just get dumped.
Yeah, and I say you being cocky, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't steamroller him. I'd be like, oh, cool. Let me show you what my army does.
Yeah.
Like, let's have some fun, man. Let me show you what this guy does. He's pretty cool. I'm only going to send one at
We had a good example of fun. What was it, like a week or two ago playing with our buddy, had Mortarion and he like ran it up the board and this is gonna be my warp story just because we got to speed this along.
Okay, hold on. Well, do your bad story first.
I already did my bad story.
Okay.
So Ryan, you got a bad story? Don't say it's about me. Don't say it's about me.
Keep running with the warp story.
Well, so we'll move on to the warped, the good, the bad, and the warped.
So the warp story I have, I'm gonna make it really quick. It's with our buddy. We played him like a couple weeks ago, and it was one of his first games. It was one of Ryan's first games with his army and his codex.
Oh, so that's the last game we played.
Yeah,
it was the last game.
And our buddy had Mortarion and he flew him across the board. And Tom was playing like knights while Kevin was playing guard. And then Ryan had his Eldar.
Yep.
It was them against.
It was my first. Yeah, it was my first Eldar game in 9th.
Yeah, and
proceeded to push my shit in.
Yeah. And he flew Mortarion up, charged him in, and one shot at Castellan.
Why is this your story?
This is my story because it was
weird, man.
It is weird.
weird.
I was
set of
like, oh
circumstances.
my God.
Yeah.
Like, I was not I don't think any of us
and
were
he
expecting.
bypassed.
I don't even think he
bypassed-
was.
He basically like flip belted over your
Yeah,
first
he
Yeah.
flew
night
over my first night
And
and
then
then
Beast
got
Night, Best
into
Night.
Castellan.
beheaded the
night.
castle.
Yeah,
in,
Beast Night, Best Night.
Yeah.
So he basically passed up on Beast Night and then like basically just bitch slapped Castellan, Arthur.
Yeah.
And
Full wounds +2.
yeah,
Oh
it was
my God,
ridiculous.
man.
Plus 2 for
And
house or whatever.
so he did that.
And then we just dumped fire into him for like 4
Well,
turns.
no.
Hey,
let Mark finish because what he's gonna
Lasgun's
say is
OP
interesting.
Yeah. And so after that, like he was like, holy crap, you know? And the guy, dude, fucking bless his heart. He could have turned around and just done the same thing to Beast Night, Best Night.
Oh well, because I charged into him. I was
Yeah.
like, "Fuck you!"
Yeah,
Like,
and he's just like, you know what, Tom? I want you to keep playing, dude. I'm gonna attack like this guard squad over here with that commander, just so you can keep playing, dude. Because I know if I've just wiped out both your knights
Yeah,
turn one,
I only
like,
had 2 nights.
like Tom would have went home early that night. But he's like, let's have some fun, you know?
Yeah, he
Yeah, that
purposely
was good.
didn't. He purposely didn't kill Beast Knight, so as I would keep playing.
Yeah, and then Beast Knight proceeded to run across the board and
And
push
murder
his shit in.
him.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I was like, just because you were nice doesn't mean I'm going to be nice back. Fuck you.
Like, you killed Arthur.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely blew up most of his vehicles after that. Yeah,
But at the same time, that was an interesting game.
That was a
The
very interesting game.
The
I was
weird
not
part there was
expecting
how
that.
many wounds on Mortarion
Oh, dude.
Lasgun's got.
Oh,
my
right.
God.
That could be your stories.
Really weird.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan, bad story?
Yeah.
or warped.
Yeah, so bad stories. There's a lot of them. I've been playing for a long time, and the tournament scene, especially like 5th and 6th, was pretty bad. There were a lot of games where I just wanted to walk away from the table, like turn 2, and
It's the worst feeling.
and
right?
it's not all, it's not even that you're losing. It's just the way that the other person is treating you and the way that your army works. Probably the worst. I'll tell my worst story and then I'll tell my kind of funny, cringy story, my warp story. But probably the worst game I ever played. I was playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I was playing Skaven, and Skaven were pretty good at 7th, late 7th, early 8th for Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
You're on your own for this one, man. I don't know what is going on in fantasy
I know.
battle.
So
Or just in the lore,
Skaven are rat people that have like crazy warp technology, and they've got
like
some of the
Mechanicus?
a little bit.
It's-
They've got some of the crazier like guns, or they had some of the crazier guns in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So like I'm pretty tanky, I'm pretty glass cannony.
Yeah, they're glass. It's a glass cannon horde army. It's almost kind of like the Gene Stealers, I would say.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
probably pretty close to play
especially
style.
like if you start doing a Venn diagram of the lore, they live under the human cities and
Yeah.
then they fucking come out.
Oh,
and
okay.
kill
Yeah,
everybody.
straight up.
But
GSC,
they're
But they're
really
rats and they use a little bit of chaos magic.
Yeah, they're really powerful in chaos magic. They've got some crazy. They've got these weapons called warp lightning weapons, which are basically like flintlock weapons.
Oh, that's sick.
Or Gatling guns.
Yeah, they
or
got
all
like
sorts of
Gatling
crazy
guns,
shit.
flamethrowers, lightning cannons. Like
They got some little rat like standing next to it going.
Oh, there's like a team of rats like operating. It's crazy.
I'm playing against this guy here at a local store during a local tournament, and it's the first game of the day. And back then you would do 3 games. You'd show up at like 10. You do your first game, your second game, your third game, and then if you got into the winner's circle, you return the next day. You return Sunday to do your final games. So this guy, I'm playing him, and he's playing Imperial. I think he's playing Bretonians, and he had one of the steam tanks. And like, there's not a lot you can do against a steam tank.
It's like Mortarion.
Hope. And then the other
Except
thing,
hope.
and then the other thing that really sucked
Steam tank's like the Bane blade for the Imperials.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the other thing that kind of sucked in Warhammer Fantasy Battle is you're in squads. So you got a tray and everybody has to be in that squad. So your squad is like, you have to be in formation, and formation is a base to base touching.
Oh, okay.
And if you are forced to fall back in 7th or 8th, there was a rule called overtake, where if the thing that forced you to fall back was able to charge past you, it would
Wipe the
kill
squad.
your unit.
Oh yeah, it would
Yeah, I
just
remember
the
that.
trample
entire
the whole
squad.
They
thing.
had that in I think like 7th or 6th.
Sweeping
Yeah.
advance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweeping.
So
a good
my
name for
my
it.
Skaven go in, they're focused on this steam tank, and I see his knights coming up behind, and I'm like, I'm focused wrong. I'm focused on the steam tank. I need to not be focused on the steam tank. So I pull my Skaven back, and as I pull my Skaven back as their normal pullback, he charges with his knights. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I get my shooting action. I take out a couple of knights, and then they wheel and run. And I'm like, great, here's my overrun chance that I can do with my Skaven. So I overran out past him and I took out his knights, which pissed him off.
Boy.
Skaven automatically fall back, or at the time automatically would fall back in certain circumstances. And the steam tank forced one of those circumstances. He wiped my entire army unit by unit with his steam tank because I killed 3 knights faster than he wanted him to. And he told me, he's like, you killed my knights faster. I'm going to wipe your entire army by rushing my steam tank. And then I was like my 3rd unit of Skaven went down and I'm like, well, fuck, it's turn 2. I don't want to play this game anymore.
Right.
Like, there's nothing, like, you're not using anything else. You're literally using this stupid steam tank to kill me entirely.
It was just like one of those like just S tier units that you can't do anything about.
So weird. My warped story, the second game, same tournament, I moved from that table to this other table, and this dude had just known. He's like, dude, that sucked. Like, I watched that. That was painful. He was like, we'll have a better game. We'll play whatever. He's playing dwarves. So this kid, dude, an older guy. I don't know why I said kid. This older guy, right? I was in my mid 20s or early 20s in this game. And this guy was probably like in his 50s or 60s. So we're playing, right? And he gets to his magic phase. And then he's like, all right, man, I'm going to do my magic face. And he's like, my dwarf, Sir Reginald, reaches into the heavens and pulls the lightning down into his beard. And I'm just like, bro, what?
No, that's awesome.
I was going to say,
keep going.
This guy is fucking legit.
Where is this guy now?
Yeah, I need him to DM for me.
It was awesome. But he went, it was almost my bad story because it came out of nowhere. And he was like this super soft-spoken guy, and then he gets to his magic phase and just immediately gets a little taller, and like he's talking with his fist and he's dragging it down and he's enunciating each word.
I love
it. And it was, but at the same time, like in a tournament setting, you're like, everybody's looking at us.
I have the biggest shit eating grin.
It runs for me. That totally is a double-edged sword because I've played against people where they do that when they're winning, and it's the most annoying thing.
It's like rubbing it in your face. Yeah.
He's like, well, my guys, you're shooting your missiles over here, and you're just, and it's like sound effects. I'm like, I'm gonna punch you in the throat. Like, I'm literally gonna rip your lisp ass fucking tongue out of your fucking face.
This dude thankfully did it on both sides. Like I jumped my warp block engineer like into the middle of his guys with a power, and I just unleashed, fucking slaughtering
warp
dwarves. And he's there, and he's like,
rat poo,
and he's doing the whole like, oh, my last ounce of blood, and I'm like, this dude. But again, like, I'm in my early 20s. I'm already kind of
warp story.
I'm already kind of starting to get covered in tattoos, like noticeably. I'm definitely like kind of the heavy metal alt rock guy, and like no one in the store is like me. And I'm just like literally my brain was just like, what do I do? Do I look at him?
You fucking roll with it, bro.
Do I admit that I play D&D too? Or do I not get into the D&D story? But I'm like in early 20s. You get super intimidated by random crap. I'd love to find that guy now, though.
Oh, right.
I'd love to find that guy now.
You saying that, I was like, I need to find this guy.
Dude, like, where is he? We need to invite him over.
Right?
So a warped story.
I really want to talk about that one fat guy, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about
There's a story of a guy who talked like that, and I didn't know what to do.
It throws you for a loop. Then you're like, what do I do?
I don't know how to react.
You can talk about the kid.
No. I'd say the warped one was that you were going to talk about it originally. It was like salty, but not salty.
Shit.
You know?
That's right. Jesus, turn me.
Basically, Mark had a Terminator, and I sunk 79, 72
okay.
wounds. Not hits.
Wounds.
Now that's hard to do. Okay.
That's an impressive number.
In one unit. One unit.
Yeah. And he survived all of it.
Oh yeah. So the way it happened, I mean, I know it's Tom's story, but
you
I was gonna say so Tom and I were playing at a buddy's house, and he had like pretty much an army of hazard suits, and he sunk all of his hazard suits with drop zone clear onto one of my kill teams, and my kill teams at the time had like a mix of Terminators and stuff, and you could allocate wounds.
This is what I call his bullshit squad.
Exactly. Yeah. so like his shield drones.
They have a rule for everything.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Fall back and shoot. Fall back. Charge.
Oh no, because I have this guy, he could do this. And because I have this guy, he could do this. And this guy
like a bunch of ADs
and then this guy
around.
Bullshit.
That's because Mark doesn't play Warhammer. Mark plays. I made up all the rules.
Yeah, exactly. I win.
This guy gives him a handy. This guy makes him dinner.
But then when you play your orcs, your straight fight is fight.
Oh yeah. Bring it to him.
He still runs guns. He still runs guns with orcs.
He does.
I like orky
He plays
guns.
orcs like they're space marines.
No, I
he plays
play them
orc like
like
Imperial Guard.
orkies. Yeah, there you go.
So how did you get out of 79 wounds?
All right. So 72 wounds on this
72
squad,
wounds.
and I allocated it to. So he killed the squad. He killed the squad down to the last Terminator, and there was probably like another maybe 50 wounds. So he killed 9 guys, but this one last Terminator took 50 wounds on a 2-up save. So Terminators had 2 wounds at the time, and he lost it at probably about 30. He lost his first wound at 30, and then the rest of the 30, I rolled nothing but 2s and higher.
I don't know how it's possible. It literally got to a point where afterwards I was just like,
dude, he was just dude.
Then you take that guy, you paint him gold, and you never play with him again.
I was seriously standing there, and Mark is my friend, and I was like, I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah,
I'm mad at you,
and I was like, I'm not mad at you.
Oh, the entire time I was saying I'm sorry.
I know, yeah, because Mark's like, I'm so sorry, dude. I don't, and I'm like, no, it just. How I don't want to play anymore. I don't want to play anymore.
I don't know what happened with the dice, but I'm done.
I just don't.
I was smiling, but I was still saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I wasn't like this is all your fault, Mark. I was just like,
you're like, I just want to kill that Terminator in particular.
Yeah,
you got him.
Eventually, and then the game was over because I had nothing left because all of it was shooting at him.
Yeah, that was a great Terminator. He was just like Jay and Silent Bob. Was like, "Would you fuck me?" Yeah, he was just like he's just walking towards Tom.
So do you have a weird story?
I have some kind of
bring us home.
2 really, really similar things to what Tom and Mark were just talking about. I also shot a bunch at one of Mark's Terminators.
Oh boy!
But this was he likes to run when he's playing Death Watch the little flyers, the Corvus Black Stars.
Oh, I love them.
And
they're so trash.
they never really perform that great.
They're trash.
They do all right sometimes, but
they do good.
Man, he's like, all right, it's coming at you. It came at me. He was about to drop a whole kill team of Terminators and other bullshit right in front of my lines booty. And just face roll Imperial Guardsmen like Space Marines do.
That's right.
But before he could fully accomplish that goal, I just battle cannoned the thing out of the sky.
Dude.
You just I was like, all right, 3 tank commanders, let's just dump this thing out of the sky.
I was like, I think it'll be all right. I think it'll be all right.
And he's like, yeah, it'll be cool. And then so I obliterated the Corvus Black Star.
It wasn't
rolled like a full hot round of shooting right off the bat. Boom, Corvus gone.
It's one of those War Thunder where the tank hits a bomber.
Oh yeah, and it just explodes.
Yeah, straight up, dude.
Yeah, it was like one of those moments. And I was like, all right, that was already better than I thought I was going to do here. And then the Terminator drops out and a couple other guys, and I kill off all the other guys. And same thing, Terminator's there. And I literally dumped the rest of my army into that Terminator.
Is that same Terminator?
He saved the whole thing. There's a whole round of shooting on that one Terminator, and he just storm shielded everything.
Oh yeah, that Terminator was just like,
what
would
I'm
you
hearing right now is the actual grudge match is your fucking Chimera versus that goddamn Terminator. We'll see who.
No, not the Chimera, the battle cannon.
No, battle cannon. His Chimera. He has a Chimera every game that gets so much shit dumped into it, and it's just like,
I see.
That is true.
I'm not really here.
That is true. There's a bunch of times.
I was like, Tom's just like, I
destroy every Chimera.
That's true.
I do not.
That's true. Tom has learned pretty much the sweet spot for how much firepower to dump into a Chimera to take it out.
Got you.
But then
I'm real good at killing Kevin's vehicles.
The other thing is basically the same thing. Tom charges in with Beast Knight.
Beast Knight, best night.
And he comes at me, and I dump 1,000 points of firepower.
I remember.
I was playing 1,000, and I don't remember. I think it was.
That's when he was sidelining the whole board.
Down the alley. Yeah,
was that the game where they were playing and we were painting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it? No. That was
Mark was playing.
Yeah, you were playing Gene Stealers.
Oh, okay.
It was you and Kevin versus me.
That's right. Okay,
Tom. And Tom came at me with Beast Knight, and I know that they're tanky, so I'm firing a bunch of basilisks, a bunch of demolisher cannons.
For I remember.
Yeah, for I remember.
Oh, God, that's so good. We got to say that at the end here, but go ahead.
And so
I'll tell you in a second.
I ended up. It came down to it, and I hit and wounded with 8 or 9 shots of heavy weapons.
I did rotate ion shields.
He rotated ion shields, but I didn't have either. I could have kind of shot some things at another target, but why shoot at a Castellan completely across the table when I got a Beast Knight about to literally push my shit?
Beast Knight, best night.
Oh yeah. And so and I had good lines of fire on him, and I put a significant amount of heavy weapons into this dude.
Yeah.
And he saved it an entire fistful of dice.
I think it was something like 40 some odd shots.
It was dumb. And it was all right, I'm going to
save them all.
Yeah.
That's always one of those dice rolls where you're just what happened?
I didn't do a single point of damage.
was great.
Not a single one
And
out
then,
of
like,
like fistfuls
it-
of dice.
it
And it was
basically
we were just
ended-
standing there like,
Yeah.
It basically ended after that because I was like, well, I'm here now in your line.
Yep,
And he's
and-
like, well, like,
Yep,
and I was like,
Beast
yeah.
Knight just proceeded to push shit
I
in.
destroyed
Oh,
like
yeah.
3 tanks. Right
Oh,
Beast
yeah,
Knight
it was
does
bad. It was brutal. But like, that's part of the game. Like,
Yeah,
Beast
yeah.
Knight rotated ion shields
Yeah,
and blocked
yeah,
all my
yeah.
shit. It's
It
like,
was brutal, dude.
you know, another one of those Gundam episodes where they fire some big ass laser at the Gundam and then it's just standing there like next to the
destroyed
giant.
around it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
he's
standing
just
there
like put up his
steaming.
shield. Exactly. And like in my head, like I
Staring
pictured it
menacingly.
being really cool.
And then it makes
Yeah.
that shing noise when he like
yeah,
pulls up
yeah,
his
yeah,
hands.
the dynamic anime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So-
No, the joke
Yeah,
was
forearm.
the joke was,
Take it-
and
take
I
us out.
really want this to go viral. So
Oh,
like,
God.
please, world, do this.
Oh god.
Is we were talking about Imperial Guard and
Yeah.
Gene Stealers, right? And
We were
the Gene
teamed up.
Stealers
And
are
this is
teaming together.
this is the
and they're
first
like-
time I had even been on a table with Eugene Steelers.
That's right, yeah.
And so the Imperial Guard are like, yeah, for the Emperor. And the Gene Stealers are like, for the Emperor, yeah, for the Emperor.
And my
And
guys
the Imperial
just
Guard's
look
like,
at
wait, what? And the Gene Stealers are like, wait, what?
They're like for the emperor. You're like,
Emperor.
Yeah,
Four-armed
for Emperor.
Four-armed
Yeah.
Emperor. So good, dude. It literally, I'm like, it needs to be a
And then they
meme.
proceed to look forward and charge.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
needs to be
yeah.
a meme.
Okay.
It just
That's
needs to be a meme.
It's so
Like,
great.
it's
Oh,
just
it's
like,
great.
what?
Yeah, for
So
Emperor.
good.
No, they-
For the Emperor, for the Emperor. What?
Huh? That's what I said.
So
that's
good.
what I said. For the Emperor.
It's my
I don't
favorite.
understand what
Emperor.
you're hearing when I'm saying it.
Yeah, shall we charge? Charge!
Yeah. So yeah, guys, we know that our stories aren't the only ones. There's definitely just the tip of the iceberg here when it comes to the fun, confusing, and sometimes just strange ass events that happen in garage games, shop games, or even straight out tournament play.
Email us. Tell us your stories.
Yeah. So
This should go viral.
one. So let us
For
know.
Emperor.
Let us know.
Emperor?
For Emperor.
What?
What?
But
I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you guys keep saying forearm number?
No,
You're
for
talking
the
for the
Emperor.
Emperor.
Oh,
Yeah, for Emperor.
Four-armed Emperor.
right, forearm number.
No, for the Emperor.
There are four emperors.
Forearm
Got it.
No, for the
But that's every time you do the forearm emperor thing, I think of there are four lights.
I don't know that one.
Star Trek, the Borg, they're trying to break Picard.
Oh, yeah.
There are
I was-
four lights.
I was really sleepy in that.
There
like,
are
culmination.
four arms.
His name is Locutus.
Locutus. The bull.
Yeah, so we want to know your guys' stories. Let us know. You can email us at
Email ass, yo.
Email ass.
email.
You can
Bunch of
email
pictures of
us.
asses now.
Yeah.
What is like the weirdest episode?
We were just talking about hairy asses earlier.
I did,
They were.
yeah.
They were.
I bent over and I said,
Yeah, for Emperor.
What? Yeah, let us know what some of you guys' stories are. Email us at underthehiveofmadness@gmail.com or grimdarkgaming@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at grimdarkgaming. You can
should
also
post up a picture of Billy on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy
Yeah.
Blackclaw.
Yeah, now that he's got his super cool paint job.
So make sure to check that out at Jim Dark Gaming. You can also join our Facebook group. Just search for Jim Dark Gaming and you'll find us. We're also on Twitter. And you can personally find me on TikTok at UHM_Goblin King. You guys have anything you want to pimp
plug?
out? You want to plug or pimp out?
I suck at social media, but
Yeah,
I
same.
guess I'll post stuff eventually.
I don't have any dedicated screen names for this kind of activities, so
Billy
eventually-
Big Cock.
Eventually,
69.
I'm sure we're going to be starting a Discord, mainly probably for like me and Kevin and
Yeah, something.
Mark when we're doing video games and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, we're
Oh, we
definitely.
didn't talk about Dawn of War. Episode 3.
Next
episode 3.
episode.
Yeah,
Talk
next
Episode
about it.
37.
All right, guys. Well, yeah, thanks for listening to us. Make sure to give us subscribe and give us a review wherever you find your podcasts, and we will talk to you next time.
Later, fellas.
Later.